Common note number 5. Divine Quran allows receipt of interest. A. It is not understood as to how the wrong view about receipt of interest has prevailed. The truth is clear from the following verses of Divine Quran, which are set out below. 1. Verse number 130 of chapter 3 states, "Those who are obedient of believers in Kullaha Creator should not charge usury excessive interest, riba, on the amount of loan which is equal or more to the amount lent. This will help them to prosper. Violation is punishable." Comments. The Divine Quran has the highest authority for Mohammedans, including charging of interest on money lent. The above verse clearly allows charging of interest. However, the amount of interest should not be equal to or more than the amount lent. Whatever be the method of charging interest, it should not exceed the conditions laid down above. 2. Verse number 275 of chapter 2 states, "Persons who live off income from usury excessive interest, riba, only, are comparable to the person who has been overpowered by the mischievous Satan." They argue that earning usury excessive interest, riba, is like any other trade. Wallahu Creator has legitimized trading, but not living on usury excessive interest, riba. The person who heeds the above advice and gives up such usury excessive interest, riba, in future, will be forgiven by Rabbihim Creator. Anyone still persisting in usury excessive interest, riba, will face the fire. Comments. The above verse does not permit lending of money on excessive interest usury, riba, as an occupation by itself. If the amount of interest is equal to or more than the amount lent, the same will be called usury, riba. This is not permitted by Divine Quran. 3. Verse number 276 of chapter 2 states, "Billahu Creator does not encourage charging of usury excessive interest, riba. Wallahu Creator blesses charity. He does not like disobedient, kafirin." Comments. The above verse is quite clear. What is barred is excessive interest usury, riba. 4. Verse number 278 of chapter 2 states, "The obedience should give up or waive the balance amount of usury excessive interest, riba." Comments. The above verse clearly disallows excessive interest usury, riba. Charging of interest which is equal to or more than the amount of money lent has been called usury excessive interest, riba. This is not allowed by Divine Quran. 5. Verse number 280 of chapter 2 states, "If the debtor is genuinely unable to pay, then either give more time for payment or give up the balance amount if one is satisfied about the genuine difficulty." Comments. The above verse is quite clear. It is for the lender to assess whether the debtor is in a genuine difficulty. If the lender has the choice either to waive the amount of interest or to waive the principal amount or to grant more time for repayment. If lender gives up any part or whole of principal or interest, that will be considered as a charity. 6. Verse number 40 of chapter 30 states, "Whatever is given in charity, it is compensated for many times more. Whatever is earned by usury excessive interest, riba, that does not matter before Allahi Creator." Comments. The above verse is further proof that it is usury excessive interest, riba, which is disallowed. This verse clearly supports charging of reasonable interest as ethical and lawful. B. General comments. I. The above verses clearly show that a Mohammedan should not follow money lending as his sole avocation business for his livelihood. 2. The above provision clearly show that lending or borrowing money at some rate of interest is not disallowed. The Divine Quran does not prohibit a Mohammedan from paying interest on money borrowed. Neither borrowing prohibits a Mohammedan from paying interest. 3. The Divine Quran does not prohibit a Mohammedan from depositing money and receiving interest thereon. But the above should not tantamount to carrying on that as a trade or a business. 4. The Divine Quran, a great stress has been laid on personally doing some activity for earning one's livelihood as far as possible. We, according to some ulamas and preachers, a Mohammedan cannot earn money inter alia by way of interest, rents, investment in stock market, provident fund, etc. Nor a Mohammedan can seek employment in banks, insurance companies, employers who trade even partly with borrowed money in any manner. He also cannot be self-employed if he has to borrow money on payment of interest. The above view of ulamas is contrary to the Divine Quran. 6. It may be noticed that carrying on of a business for earning profit is permissible. If, instead of lending amount, one uses the same for one's business, the same may result in additional profit. Therefore, no one may like to lend any money. Take another example, a man borrows money. He employs the same for his business. He earns profit. He has enriched himself. The lender, by not using the money for his business, has lost additional profit. Such a situation cannot be considered as just. A correct reading and understanding of the above verses will clearly show that charging of interest is permissible. Lending has to be subject to certain conditions. Amount of interest should not be equal to or more than the amount lent. 7. However, a living being is likely to become old and infirm for carrying on any work occupation. The income saved from his rightful earnings and yielding any income will not be covered by the above restriction. If a person saves money from his rightful earning and buys an immovable property which yields rent, then it will not be just to debar a Mohammedan from taking reasonable interest within the limits of riba. See, verse number 116 of chapter 3 states, "For the disobedient in Minallahi Creator and not following the guidelines principles given in book, they are to be in hell to face the fire." D. Why this indifference of Mohammedans to correctly reading and understanding the Divine Quran, particularly when many verses thereof lay down penalties? For example only, verse number 174 of chapter 2 states, "Those who hide or misinterpret any part of the revelation made in writing, book, will be swallowing the fire on the day of judgment."